Hello everyone, I'm Refik Anadol, a media artist and director, and great to be here in Davos and alive with a wonderful world changer and impactful and powerful minds who are thinking together and here. And it's my very first time and an honor to be here to share the journey as a media artist and director. I think these words are very powerful to me when I started my journey as an artist. And William Gibson was pretty much predicting almost more than a decade ago that the future we are going on all together is where the physical, where the virtual, where the real and unreal are colliding together. But this feeling to me come onto my mind in Istanbul, the city that I was born in, and where the West and East connects, left and right, black and white, the contrast feelings in life and the cultural richness of many layers of information was always in my mind. And I got my first computer, I was 8 years old, and it was a very powerful imagination. The idea of a camera in the mind of a machine, a camera or a friend as a machine became a kind of a imagination patterns in a very early ages. But I think being 8 years old, getting a computer and watching Blade Runner, I think I was very optimist as a child. I didn't see dystopia, I didn't see negativity. I see the hope, brightness, positivity, and about like how we can engage in near future and imagine it. And since 8 years old, I was, how to like make this world happen? And I guess in my early ages and in the like undergrad years, try to embed media arts into architecture by transforming cultural beacons into canvas and transform them into a kind of a communication tools, but using light as a material. And I think Kierkegaard says something very powerful, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. I felt that this is an incredible thing that right now happening to us because data is exactly what it means that we have to understand it. And in my practice, I've heavily focused the idea of poetics of data. Data is a material between machines, between now humanity, between systems and hardwares and softwares. And if you look at where we are right now, the numbers are incredibly powerful, but how are we aware of the machines and the systems and the hardwares? And I think the reality is constantly changing in the arts, in the imagination, and I think clearly the physical and virtual is completely blending together. But also, the impact of imagination and the technology is completely changing who we are. Our DNA, our gene, our culture, our families and patterns, and sometimes the control mechanisms. We are in this new ecosystem and a universe that where we don't know sometimes who is in control. And also, we know that we all are in this time and space where we don't know where we are. And I'm pretty confident we are all like this in many times. We see the same thing in the morning, a machine, the last thing, a machine. And the fundamental question to me was, what does it really mean to be a human in 21st century? And this question was very heavy, and this beautiful animal can learn how to use social media in just 20 seconds. And I asked the question because it was a powerful one, but it was a heavy one. I couldn't do myself, and I found that what will happen if I start a new journey in Los Angeles, which I found it very, very powerful, where the like Silicon Valley happens, and the entertainment, and the arts and culture, and start my journey in the streets. So if you think about a media artist working with computers, I'm not in a studio with like, unfortunately, beautiful pigmentation, and so I was like this, hacking the streets, finding ways of projection mapping the street. But my concept of art was, it should be for anyone, any age, and any background. And how to make it? I find it in public space, in the streets, where there is no beginning, there is no end, and hopefully open to anyone in the world. And in Los Angeles, of course, in love with this beautiful building of Frank Gehry, Disney Hall, just jumped the idea of what will happen if one day buildings can dream and learn and hopefully communicate with us and go beyond concrete, steel, and glass, imagine a future where art is truly a part of life. So I was a student on the stage in Microsoft Research with my, by the way, short. I'm much better right now. Learn how to wear on a public space and got my first award. And this award and education and a new MFA studies start a new journey. Right now, these are my heroes, my team. We are 15 people, can speak 15 languages, represent 10 countries. We are trying to create a kind of a meaningful future by embedding media arts into architecture. And last 8 years, our purpose was how to create these impactful narratives in public spaces, in built environments, and truly narrate invisible, visible, and use any kind of sensors you can imagine, from a heartbeat to brain signals to Bluetooth to Wi-Fi. Pretty much any information, I think, can become a pigment, can become a sculpture, can become a story. And I think data is not just numbers. data is a form of material, a memory that can take any shape and form. In the last 8 years, we use custom softwares, focus on open source data, open source software, and try to navigate through this challenging path for digital art. And digital art is not so welcomed in the very early days of art society. It took decades for artists to express their self and say that we are a group of creators, love computation, growing with computers, growing with games, and we have also imagination. And we can also practice with information. And this group of people have been, I guess, like myself, last 2 decades, crunching those numbers to make meaningful experiences for humanity. And at the studio, we took this challenge and go through many, many layers of challenges. But today, I want to focus on our, I guess, 5 projects that I think made an impact. And also being here in Davos, we have an amazing collaboration and show how we start this journey with AI. And when I say AI, maybe this image is very familiarized for many people. 2015 summer in July, this image was online. Deep Dream, one of the first image ever shared publicly and well received. This image we are seeing here is a machine backpropagation or dreaming or hallucinating and animals when it's asked for. And this image was very inspiring because me and many artists who have been trying to work with AI one day, finally, there's a chance that the code was online and the technique was available. Imagine the moment of Renaissance, getting the best technique ever, and all the artists were trying to learn about it. And I want to mention this amazing quote because Blaze, also, and his team at Google AMI, I was a first-generation artist and an artist in resident at Google 2016, this was very powerfully true. Like photography, printing press, pretty much any technological advancement completely changed artistic movements. And I think right now, last 7 years, feels like 70 years is exactly happening a renaissance in the creativity. But I think what was very powerful is not just techno-fetish imagination, but I think this model working with AI, I think is kind of simulating the consciousness. Right now, not necessarily machines are deciding yet, but the information or data, knowledge and wisdom progress can be simulated if we want to. And this book, I think, inspired me very much. Amazing Argentine writer and the Library of Babel. I hope one day every single data in the world can survive in a library that everyone can access freely. And this dream was the first attempt, and we made archive dreaming. And this project, 2016, was the first AI project publicly used in a library that is open and free, where you can go and see things differently. This library doesn't have a search bar. This library is showing you what it exactly have in the library, but without typing anything, but seeing it and learning about it. I do highly believe learning to learn is the most impressive and exciting act, and we were trying to simulate in this project. And this is very fascinating to me. The image on the left side is 6 years of human researchers trying to sort 1.7 million documents. The image on the right side, in only 90 minutes, an AI sorting 6 years of research and giving any vision. I found this very powerful, that AI can be an extension of mind, and machines do not forget. So how can we use this practically? And the other thing is on the left side, an image that AI is, okay, the question was, if a machine can learn, can it dream? And if it can dream, how can we visualize this? Of course, simulation. And on the left side, we are seeing, again, 7 years ago, it feels 70 years, an AI dreaming all the documents in the archive. And on the right side, this artistic pigmentation, which I'm calling it machine hallucinations. As a studio, we focus on collective memories, memories that I hope very important for everyone in the world. Nature, urban, space, culture. And last 7 years, we download more than 3 billion images and explore different archives. And we learned many things, and we learned that every single memory, every single collective archive is unique and different and requires new questions. And this is, for example, a software that I am literally using. An AI learned all the Renaissance architecture, and literally on the left side, I am using literally like a game joystick and flying in the mind of a machine and reconstructing realities in real time. And I found that it's a kind of a thinking brush. And from this brush, generate many artworks. And if you can look at this pattern, maybe someone says, oh, it's the same artwork. Actually, it's not. And if you look across the time, each archive, each image universe can generate new universes. And this study became this obsession. How can we pigment these realities? And how can we reconstruct these worlds? And it became our studio's signature, I guess, approach to data pigmentation and through simulations, and heavily focus on these data paintings, AI data paintings. But of course, it's just a start. And as Carl Sagan mentioned, imagination will often carry us to the worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere. And we took this AI research to different cultural archives. For example, Rumi, a Persian Turkish poet, where we look at 19 language of Mesnevi. In Mozart, we look at all his beautiful music ever done, and we try to see the same information from different perspectives and created data universes. I do believe that these are spaces we can go and listen and learn at the same time. And of course, another very, very childish question, can we construct a memory? And I do believe that with machines and AI, and not breaching the privacy and free will, and technically, we have a chance to look at the moment of remembering. I'm heavily inspired, unfortunately, from an Alzheimer's situation for my uncle, and heavily looking for the patterns. How can we use AI to remember and learn the moment of remembering? And how can we preserve our memories without breaching privacy? And it's possible. And this software you see also used in science, not just shiny pixels. And our researchers in UCSF, Adam Yesley's lab, and many others are practicing with this software and learning how the brain patterns working. Another example is public art. Here in Berlin, in St. Agnes, a real-time AI dreaming with the weather patterns in Berlin while the weather is changing constantly and the building is responding to it. So the AI and creativity doesn't finish or start in certain locations, and we can push the boundaries. Another example, machine hallucinations. This piece is in New York, received more than 500,000 visitors. And what we are watching is stepping inside the mind of a machine with 18 channels projection and 36 channels sound. We are witnessing the feeling of being in the mind of a dream of a machine. Trained on 113 million New York photos, this AI is dreaming constantly and reconstructing a built environment reality. And last 6 years, maybe 10 years, we have been practicing what happens if the built environment become a canvas and AI is also the storyteller and support this journey. And similarly, we explored another building, this time in Istanbul, 120 years old theater, a cinema. And we this time look at the memories of the space and use 150 movies ever played in this room. And we reconstruct the memories and use, basically understand how we can reconstruct the memory of a space. And we received an incredible amount of visitors from across the ages and learn about many things, about the movies, such as scenario, the script, the text, the soundtrack, the image, the players and actors' faces. And we learned so much in this research as well. And again, AI creativity doesn't finish only on the built environments. We also explore being on the stage. This beautiful music by Fazıl Say, real-time played, and AI was accompanying his music on the stage. And real-time, ever-changing, like life. And you can only witness one time in that time and space. That gives the value of being there, being alive, and witness performing arts in the age of machine intelligence. Another project that we have been heavily focusing on, the nature. All our inspiration, where we are coming from, and I hope that extremely important for our future, being sure that we preserve and protect. This project, Flora Research, has been a very fun one. We create this AI during the pandemic while we cannot go anywhere, but the question was, can nature come to us? Because we were all trapped in our homes, unfortunately, during the pandemic, and having asking these questions heavily, like what happens if AI learns of these patterns? And this AI was able to create all the flora systems in the world, trained on 75 million images of flora, but the question was, can we also have the scent of this AI? And we generate this custom system. Now imagine you step inside this room, and this room is instantly reconstructing a new reality, not only just sound and image, but also the center of these floral systems, which I will come to a live demo here right now in Davos. We have an exciting advanced version of this dream, how to use AI in this creative context. And while these were going on excitingly, something also powerful happened during the pandemic, NFTs and blockchain. And suddenly, while we are all in the same conditions, we took the attention of humanity and start to see NFTs, which is non-fungible token, heavily used in also creative economy, and create a whole new audience and creators and collectors around the world. And luckily, the blockchain, the impact on the nature also changed, thanks to the recent advancement in proof of work to proof of stake. And so we were able to get much more nature-friendly versions of a blockchain. But for us, as a studio, took the challenge, how can we use technology and go beyond what people can do and turn this process into a public art that people can first feel it, experience it, and then becomes an experience. First experiment was machine hallucination space. In Hong Kong, during pandemic, we couldn't fly, but our artwork was in Sotheby's auction, and this piece was the very first time. What will happen if the built environment becomes NFT? What happens if the physical space goes to blockchain? And how can we talk about physical and virtual in the blockchain? And the piece received significant audience and also become the very first blockchain piece that where the physical and virtual builds were coming together. The focus was space, which is the satellites from the MRO, ISS, and Hubble telescope, and watching the machine dreams of space. And the other project was in Palazzo Strozzi in Florence, the home of Renaissance, next to Donatello, and AI dreaming all the Renaissance era paintings, sculptures, and literature. And this piece, I believe, a beautiful dialogue between the past and the future, and maybe now, and try to have a dialogue across centuries, between artists. And the other piece, which I think very important, the impact of NFTs are not just creating a new economy for the creators, but economy that can be helpful for who needs it. As a studio, we believe more than giving than taking, and these three projects I will be showing you generated $5 million for St. Jude Children's Hospital, UNICEF, and Alzheimer's Foundation. So NFTs can also be very powerful if it's well-designed and purposefully created. And this piece from the Inspiration 4, a SpaceX collaboration that allowed us to generate this unique collection to support St. Jude Hospital with an incredibly exciting data from space for astronauts living in 3 days in the space. And their data became an income and support for the Children's Hospital. And we preserve 1 whole day of an hospital to support the families. The other project last summer at UNICEF, we were able to create a piece with Therme and Mind Maze and donate this piece called Sense of Healing by using the moment of healing in the mind, transform into a data sculpture, and then auction at UNICEF, and became the very first and probably the highest value artwork gifted to UNICEF. And the piece is visualizing the brain patterns while it's getting healed. So I would just want to highlight that blockchain, NFTs, and metaverse can be powerful, impactful, and purposeful when the intent is in the creation. And right now, we have another project alive in New York at MoMA, which was, I think, the very first blockchain exhibition that a major museum asked for a collaboration, and thanks to Paolo Antonelli, Michel Coe, and the MoMA, we were able to create an installation alive right now at MoMA in New York that is constantly changing, evolving, and dreaming 138,000 old artworks at MoMA archive. And this archive is incredible, from Van Gogh to Picasso to Kandinsky, incredible, inspiring artists who defined and pioneered different techniques exist in this artwork. In this AI dreaming world. To make this happen, this is the lobby. The piece is around 8 meter by 8 meter media wall where I stay. And on the ceiling, we have the camera and the microphone to hear, to see, and to feel the weather of the New York as well. What artwork does in real time, ever changing by getting senses, and dreaming new worlds. The artwork received a significantly positive reaction from the audience. Here's how it feels and looks in the lobby. But most importantly, the museums are powerful institutions where I hope the past and the future connects. And there's lots of amazing moments that I want to share one of those amazing notes, because I always find that, give me a second. These beautiful words are from the security of the museum. And I think it's the best critic ever an artist gets. And she said, "I love the power of art to unite people. It's so wonderful to see people from all over the world gathered in front of unsupervised, admiring and contemplating all of this grandiose beauty. It really warms my heart to see so many people joined together, experiencing the same joyful feelings and emotions. I feel so grateful for all the artists who create art with so much love, and unsupervised inspires me in wishes of love and unity for all humanity." Sometimes the best critic comes from the people who are living the artwork every single day. So the piece in New York, and the beautiful thing, I guess, the reaction, quantifiably, the AI, generative AI, and imagination is bringing together lots of wonderful people around the world. And last two projects, before I finish, there's a piece that last year created a powerful impact in public space. As I mentioned, I'm a public artist. Streets, the buildings are the canvas that I found the joy and power. And this piece, a beautiful building by Antoni Gaudi, the god of architects god, and the genius who created this beautiful building, Casa Batlló. And we took a real-time data from the building, and real-time, when the weather changes, it reflects to the NFT. A dynamic NFT changed by the weather. If it's windy, if it's rainy, it reflects to the piece. But to celebrate this piece, we took this idea, bring to public space, and make an audiovisual performance in Barcelona to celebrate this UNESCO heritage building. There you go. And I think it's a quantifiable data to say that public art can unite us, connect us, and art has the power to unite us. And I would like to finish my presentation with a wonderful artwork right behind us here in Davos. This specific piece to just show how impactful the future in this World Economic Forum, and thanks to the Joseph Fowler and everyone in the art and culture at Davos, we are able to create this wonderful new research called Artificial Realities Coral. Corals, as we all know, the climate change and impacting and unfortunately losing them. They are so important for our ecosystems and of course the earth and under or over water. What we did is a very, I think, exciting research. Download 100 million coral images to train our AI to ask the question, what will happen if AI can learn, create what we lost? And what happens if we take them, put hopefully underwater, and maybe reconstruct what we lost? The project is, of course, wishful thinking right now. We are researching with AI, and it's one of the most probably advanced AI right now can generate almost realistic, these beautiful living creatures. And I hope that today and during this week at Davos, we will discuss this with the leaders and the powerful minds, how we can take this idea to a function that hopefully makes impact and hopefully be not just shiny, beautiful pixels, but becomes an action that have a power and hopefully action, and the function to help our Earth. So the project is not only creating images, also the sound you hear is made by a similar artificial intelligence and neural networks. And most importantly, I guess, we also have this scent of this AI. Today we will be giving you also the demo, and thanks to our friends at Fermanage, last 3 years, we worked with Charlie, which is a 500,000 trained AI model, can create many scents in the world, and we were able to create almost realistic underwater universe of seaweed and the creatures. And I think this multi-sensory universe is a great example of metaverse that I hope we can go and feel and make impact and also experience multi-sensory worlds. And I believe this can be a great start to discuss how can we go beyond what we have. So shortly, I think the impact of the generative AI, impact of creativity with machine intelligence has a significant audience and a reaction and an impulse and a purpose and impact. As a studio, we have been around these many different continents, I think except Antarctica, but we are going Antarctica next month to hopefully make an impact. Our last project to highlight today, to bring more attention from around like all these wonderful people here, is called Dataland. And we are, after many years of almost a decade-long information experience, how can we take this idea and bring more powerful data collections and inspiring projects? And I think, to me, metaverse is not just wearing a TV on our face. Metaverse can be more powerful and impactful when we can bring all these ideas together. To start this project, we are working also with rainforests. There's an incredible people from Yavanava in Brazil, in Acre, and leaders Nishiwaka and his wife Putani. And thanks to them, we were hosted in Amazon and lived there with my wife Efsun, also here, and a business partner and life partner. And we together went there and lived truly 1 week and understand the power of rainforests and learn about these incredible people who are protecting our lungs for thousands of years. And we asked them, what is your dreams? What is our dreams? And we want to co-create together. And Dataland is not just another a data set. We just want to be working truly with the humanity's most wonderful people. And we asked their dreams, they shared their dreams, we shared our dreams, and we want to create Dataland in a purposeful way. And hopefully, it will be one of the most impactful metaverse art experiences in the world, opening in Los Angeles very soon. Happy to share more. Grateful to be here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Thank you.